On today's episode, two-time World's Toughest Mudder champion and reigning Spartan Ultra World Champion, Rea Kolbl. Welcome to the OCR Report podcast, brought to you by the OCRReport.com. We are the only podcast to focus exclusively on the elite sport of obstacle course racing, from Spartan to Tough Mudder to the OCR World Championships, and wherever the elites are racing, we are there. My name is Will Hicks, and this is the OCR Report. Welcome back to the OCR Report podcast. My name is Will Hicks. Thank you for listening. You are listening to part 4 in the saga of Tough Mudder. Not really. We got a quick update for you, but we're going to talk with Rea Kolbl in a minute about mostly non-Tough Mudder stuff. Rea is the Spartan Ultra World Champion. Talk about her race in Sweden, and we also get her thoughts on the Tough Mudder situation. But here's my deal with Tough Mudder. I feel like I've gone through the 5 stages of grief with, I kind of denied it. I was angry. I was very sad. And I'm kind of accepting now. There's not a lot of news. If you've been listening to the OCR Report and World Toughest Podcast, we've kind of been updating you as we get more information. Where it stands right now is there's a deal on the table for Spartan to buy Tough Mudder. Basically, that would save Tough Mudder. This is a big change from a few weeks ago when we talked to Joe DeSena. Joe DeSena was talking about, we'd love to buy the company, and then all of a sudden, if basically because of, for whatever reason, is it mismanagement? Is it whatever? If Spartan does not buy Tough Mudder will probably go away. So most of us are hoping for Spartan to come in and save the day. Spartan has all the leverage, but the co-founders of Tough Mudder are refusing to sign off on the deal. The president of Tough Mudder had a deal. Active signed off on it. Spartan signed off on it, and everything would continue. Tough Mudder would come under Spartan and be the Tough Mudder department of Spartan, and run by Kyle McLaughlin, the popular and beloved CEO of Tough Mudder. But the co-founders of Tough Mudder have said, unless you give us $40 million, $20 million each, then the deal's not going to happen. There was an article from Sports Business Daily today, it came out, saying that number has actually climbed from 40 million, which is what I heard, to 44 million, because Active, they raised it because Active didn't meet some deadline, which, you gotta, they're not going to get 40 million, so I don't know why they're trying to get 44. Anyway, you know what? I'm not happy about it, but I've come to a place of acceptance. And if it ends up that everything is saved and World's Toughest Mudder goes and Tough Mudder, does their races all year long, their events all year long, I will be happier than anyone. This is supposed to be the 10th anniversary year for Tough Mudder. Big celebration year of 10 years of events and of races and of camaraderie and teamwork in the community. And if it happens, no one will be happier than me. But even just for my own, emotional peace of mind, I've had to come to a place of acceptance. Like, it's out of my control. It's out of my hands. I hope for the best, but anyway, that's where I am at right now. And not everyone's there yet, and that's fine. Like, people got there before me, and people are still angry and upset and mad about refunds, and I get it. Everyone's handling it differently, and anyway, we're not going to spend all day talking about that. We're going to talk with Rea Kolbl. Before we talk with Rea Kolbl, let's read some iTunes reviews.
5 stars.
5 stars.
5 stars.
5 stars!
5 stars.
5 stars.
5 stars.
5 stars.
That last 5 stars is Rea Kolbl, our guest today. First review comes from JM4292. JM4292 writes, Spartan Hysteria, 5 stars. I enjoyed the interview with Joe DeSena. Hopefully this will help calm the hysteria in the community. My opinion is that this is a good thing and can make Tough Mudder better. And I don't think mudders will have to do burpees. I would love to see Joe run at WTM. Thank you, JM4292. I agree with everything you said. I don't think you'll ever see burpees at Tough Mudder. Just because burpees have kind of become a thing. And I think Spartan knows that. They're smart enough to realize that. So if it does happen, I would love it. And honestly, everything at Tough Mudder has always been optional, right? Not a world's toughest, but at a regular Tough Mudder, you go out there on a Saturday and a Sunday with your buddies. No one's making you do every obstacle. No one's making you do penalties. No one's making you do anything. So I agree. And I would also love to see Joe run World's Toughest Mudder. I think of all the Tough Mudder races, even all the World's Toughest Mudder is that's kind of Joe's thing. That's what Joe did before he was into OCRs. He did crazy, he ran the Iditarod race without dogs. That's kind of his jam. So I agree with you. I think it'll be awesome. Love to see it someday. Time will tell. If you'd like to be a part of the show, like JM4292, you can leave a review on iTunes also. Open the Purple Podcast app on your iPhone or iOS device. Search for the OCR Report. Click our logo, and then scroll down to click Write a Review. And I will read it on the next episode. I would love to get some more reviews on the old Apple Podcasts page, you guys. We are at 23. That's for the OCR Report. On World's Toughest Podcast, we have several hundred U.S. and internationally. So anyway, if you would leave a review for the OCR Report, I would be grateful. Today on our show, Rea Kolbl. Rea doesn't need much of an introduction. She's won World's Toughest Mudder twice. She's won the Spartan Ultra World Championship this year. She was the first and still only person at World's Toughest Mudder to win the sprint lap. That's the fastest first lap of the 5-mile course. And then hold that lead wire to wire, win the whole race. Never been done before and hasn't been done since. It's time to talk with Rea Kolbl. Let's go to the phones.
Hi, Will.
Hey, Rea, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. Hey, if you're good to go, we can just jump right in.
Sure. Let's do it.
Rea Kolbl, thanks for joining the show.
Thanks for having me, Will.
Rea, you are the 2019 Spartan Ultra World Champion. Congratulations.
Thank you.
We're talking in January. That race was a month and a half ago, 2 months ago. How was it?
Yeah. Oh, it was awesome. It was probably my favorite race that I've done, not counting the Eco Challenge because that was so different. But I don't know, just everything about it, like the snow, the cold, everything it was really, really hard, but it was also really, really amazing.
Tell me about it. It was in Sweden. It was a looped course like you've done before with World's Toughest Mudder, 24 hours long. What was different about that and World's Toughest Mudder?
Well, I guess quite a bit of things. The obstacles were all open from the start, except a couple that were right out of the gate that would just cause too much congestion if they were open. So it was 24 hours of obstacles, and then the penalties for 6 of them were burpees. So you could have done a lot of burpees if you failed a lot of them. There was no help allowed, so all of the obstacles you were by yourself, and you can do all of them by yourself, so you don't need to work with people to get over tall walls or things like that. Transition area was inside a hotel, which was, I guess, good and bad because it was really comfortable inside and it was really, really cold outside.
So wait, the pit area was inside a hotel.
That's right. Yes.
Oh man, I don't think I could leave.
Yeah, you really can't stay in there for too long because otherwise it's then you get so cold when you leave for the transition area. And then I guess also there was no water obstacles. So that was a big difference. There was no wetsuit needed. But then also that made skiing an actual thing that you had to do that you can just do on course. And yeah, I think those are the big differences. But it was also like very, very hilly. So it was about 2,000 feet of elevation gain per lap, which made, of course, a lot different than Atlanta or Vegas, which was a lot more runnable the whole time.
So next year, are you going to try and get $1 million?
No. Next year, I'm actually going to focus on ultras because this year I realized that's like something I really love and something I train for. And so I want to race what I train for. I don't want to change my training, so I'm just going to change the races that I do. So I'm going to do the ultras and the Ultra World Championship, but probably nothing shorter than that.
This is kind of a change for you from a few years ago. When you first ran World's Toughest Mudder, you'd never run anything longer than, I don't remember the distance, but it was a big switch for you then. And now this is who you are.
Yeah, I kind of, before I got into OCR, I was doing long distance and I really liked that. And then when I started doing those races, Spartan races and everything was a little bit shorter. But I feel like my love is still going long. And I think that's what I'm just naturally good at. So I think the two go hand in hand. So I've just decided to switch it a little bit and do longer ultras and then also do more trail and see whatever else the year throws at me.
Tell me about the race part of the Ultra Championship. Like, how did you do in the competition? Did you start fast? Did you start slow?
I think we started off pretty fast, but not like crazy fast, like at World's Toughest Mudder. And I think the difference is that the obstacles were all already open. So I think in World's Toughest Mudder, there's that, like, you're quite motivated to run as far as you can before the obstacles start opening. But there was no need for that in the Spartan Ultra World Championship. So I think we started about like 7:38 minute mile pace. And then soon, like a mile into the race, it went like straight up a mountain. So there's only so fast you can go straight up a mountain. But the competition was really, really hard. So at the start, it was me and then Janka Popova and Miriam Busse. I don't know how to pronounce her last name right. But we were all really close together. So usually like at the start, we'd kind of switch places based on who was doing burpees. Janka wasn't doing any burpees. So I made like few minutes on her on the lap, and then I was doing my 60 burpees and she would pass me. But I'd say about 8 hours into the race, I kind of started to make a little bit of a bigger gap, which is kind of what I've noticed happen like for the past couple of years in World's Toughest Mudder as well. I don't know. 8 hours seems to be my magic number.
How were the obstacles and the obviously I don't think I've ever done a burpee at World's Toughest Mudder. How did that affect you differently than what you've done in the past?
I think at the start it was quite a lot of it was like mental, because at the start I was trying to figure out my glove situation. It was 15 degrees Fahrenheit at the bottom of the mountain, and I've heard reports of like -20 at the top. It was really, really cold. So I didn't want to do obstacles barehanded because the thought of touching cold metal in like 15 degrees Fahrenheit just seemed slightly terrifying. But I couldn't really find a glove that would be sticky enough. And so about like 3 or 4 laps in, I started slipping off of things because my gloves got a little wet and then they got a little icy and the rope iced over. And I almost fell from the top of the rope, which was terrifying. And then I couldn't get the hook hoist up and I fell off of the twister. And so it really gets into your mind, like that was like maybe 6 hours into the race, that, oh my gosh, I might have to do like 90 burpees every single lap from now on until the end. And so the mental part for me was just to like shut that voice down and try and figure out how to do obstacles differently so that I wouldn't have to do burpees. So what I ended up trying on the next lap was just taking my gloves off, and your hands are surprisingly sticky on a cold metal. And I realized it wasn't really that it was my grip strength that was failing. It was just a glove problem. So after that, like it was more of a like strategic burpee almost, because one of the obstacles, the Olympus, took quite a long time to get across it, and it drained so much of your strength that I decided burpees were actually easier. They took a little bit longer, but they didn't drain my grip strength, and I could do other obstacles better then. So I guess that was like the big thing. It was just like strategizing a little bit, but it's similar to like kind of strategizing with penalty running. It's just that the penalty is a burpee, which I actually trained for. So to me, it's like almost an advantage because I feel like I'm pretty efficient at doing burpees. So it wasn't like, it ended up being not that bad. I think I did about 300 burpees, which was a lot less than what I thought I was going to do at the start of the race.
Tell me about your burpee training. What'd you do?
No, just a lot of burpees every day. I haven't done a burpee since. So I'm in an off season for burpee training.
You won World's Toughest Mudder the 2 years before you won the Spartan Ultra Championship. What did you learn from World's Toughest, or what advantage did you take from that when you went to Sweden?
I think the main thing that I learned was that things go wrong and that you just have to figure out how to fix them. So that was like the glove problem, and then the food problem where my food was freezing on course and I couldn't really eat on course. I had to switch into eating just at the transition area. But also just nutrition-wise, I feel like having those 2 years of World's Toughest Mudder experience just helped me figure out what other foods I could eat when my plan A didn't work. But funny enough, every single year, even though it's like a 24-hour race, so you think it's kind of a similar event, I eat like completely different menu of foods. So I feel like it's also like just learning that things change and adapting to it and not stubbornly sticking to whatever you decided you wanted to do, because it likely won't work the way you thought it would.
We're talking the second week of January. As we're talking, the future of Tough Mudder and World's Toughest Mudder is kind of up in the air. There's some World's Toughest Mudder people that might be thinking about running the Spartan Ultra this year. What advice would you give a World's Toughest Mudder vet that's thinking about running Sweden for the first time?
First of all, do it. It's really, really awesome. Sweden is gorgeous, and like just the venue itself was like breathtaking, especially when you're up on top of the mountain and you're looking down on like the cities illuminated by street lights. It's gorgeous. And then second, I guess, there's a lot of climbing. So one thing that saved us this year was that it was really, really snowy. So it was kind of dumping snow the whole time when we were racing. At the end of the race, like the top of it was like falling hip deep into the snow that dumped throughout the race. But what that also meant was that all of the downhills were super easy because you kind of slid on soft snow. It was so cold that it never turned into ice. And at the end of the race, you could actually just sit on your butt if you had waterproof pants and just slide on the downhills. So ankles or knees were spared, which might not happen next year if the race is earlier. So I would just suggest to train a lot of up and downs throughout the year. And then just because the penalties are burpees and there are quite a few of like strength obstacles and upper body obstacles, just do heavy carries and do a lot more upper body strength training. One thing that actually really like sort of destroyed me was the bucket carry. It's not, I don't know how heavy it is. I think it's around 40 or 50 pounds for women. But when you're constantly picking that up and putting it down, my lower back was like destroyed at the end of the race. So it's just things like, little things like that where it's really hard to train for it in the last month up to the race. If you start right now, you can do little, but you do it consistently, and then you're going to be ready for it in the end of the year, whenever the race is going to be.
You mentioned the waterproof pants. What else do you wear for the race in Sweden?
I was actually surprisingly warm. What I wore was, I wore the Craft tights. They were like some winter tights that were water resistant, windproof, and had like fleece inner lining. They were so comfortable. And then I wore just like a wool base layer and a waterproof jacket over that. And that kept me warm all the way up until the last couple of laps when I slowed down. And so then I needed to put another wool base layer on. But that was enough really. Like the key was to not overdress, because then you would really overheat on the way up and then you'd sweat and then you'd be wet and then you'd freeze on the way down. And one thing that really, really helped for me was I wore like really heavy Gore-Tex waterproof gaiters that went all the way up to my knees. And that prevented the snow to get like at my ankles in my shoes. So it actually kept my shoes pretty dry. Like I didn't change shoes, not even once throughout the year, throughout the race, or socks. So I think that was like a big help It was kind of one of those last minute things that my mom was like, "Hey, we should get you these," and I was like, "Oh, I didn't even think of that. Let's do it." But yeah, that was it.
Was there anything, one or two things that you thought of, man, I need to definitely do this differently next year, or I'm so glad I did this year. This is like important to remember for next year?
I guess one thing that I want to try and figure out is just find more foods that would work on course. Everything that I had except spring energy gels froze. So then I had to eat like 500 to 700 calories in the 2 minutes I was in the pit. And that just kind of was really hard. So I think that's one of my to-do things to figure out during the year. But other than that, I feel like things work pretty well. I might do something different with my eyewear. So I was going to wear sunglasses, and then last minute I realized it's like blizzard and dark the whole time. So then sunglasses clearly weren't going to work, and without any eye protection, it was so cold and so windy that I was afraid that my eyes were just going to freeze or something bad's going to happen. So I wore just really goofy looking lab safety goggles. So I might actually find sunglasses, sports sunglasses with clear lenses, because I feel like that makes a big difference when you don't have the cold wind blasting you in the face for 24 hours.
Rea, one race you're doing this year in 2020 is the first ever Spartan race in Slovenia. Tell me about that.
Oh, yeah, I'm super excited. It's just one of those things that I feel like there's not a lot of Slovenians that do obstacle course racing, and it's just because there hasn't been a race there yet. But the country has just so much potential to host a really, really amazing race there. So it's actually the first one is going to be at a ski resort, which I think is really, really awesome, and it's gorgeous and beautiful up there. So I'm really excited that it's coming to Slovenia, and I'll be there. I'm not sure yet if I'm going to do the whole trifecta weekend, because I'm doing a record attempt the week prior. So we'll just see, but I'm really excited that the sport is finally coming to the country I grew up in. So, and you should all come.
You mentioned a record attempt the week before. What's that?
Yeah. So my friend Trevor and I, when I was actually there, the guy who's organizing the Spartan race, he told me about this really cool thing he did that he had the record, but somebody just stole it from him. And it's basically going from the lowest point of the country to the highest point of the country self-propelled. So you free dive in the sea down to the bottom, which is 120 feet below sea level, and then swim to the shore, bike to the mountains, and then climb the tallest mountain. And no woman has ever done it before, so I just need to survive the free dive, and then I think I have it in the bag. And for men, the record is 18 and a half hours. So I'm going to try and do that sometime in the week before the race, depending when the weather is best and when there's most tailwind in the biking direction.
And this is in Slovenia, the lowest part of the ocean around Slovenia to the highest mountain in Slovenia in 18-ish hours.
Yeah.
What's your freediving experience like?
None. I just started the class a week ago. So, yeah, I'm going to learn. I have 4 months.
You've done some kind of crazy stuff this last year. You did a lot of new stuff for your training for the Eco Challenge race. And
yeah.
Tell me about that.
I think it's addictive. I feel like I've learned that I really like being really bad at things and then getting better. So I feel like it just kind of hooks me up to just trying to find new things and learn new things and see how well I can do.
What's the next new thing you're going to be bad at, then good at?
Oh gosh, I don't know. See, that's the beauty of it. I never really know until I get this crazy idea, and then I try and learn. Right now it's still free diving, so working on that.
Has Discovery said anything about an air date for Eco Challenge yet?
No, they haven't. They haven't said anything more specific than 2020. And it's actually going to be Amazon Prime, not Discovery. So we'll see.
Well, we're looking. I
really hope it's going to be soon.
Right, we're looking forward to talking about that.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to being able to talk about it too.
We mentioned Tough Mudder's troubles right now. You were very active in the Tough Mudder community. You won World's Toughest Mudder 2 years in a row. What are your thoughts on that, or your take on the situation?
I think it's sad. I hope that the Tough Mudder can survive I feel like there's value in there being very distinct and very different events. And I feel like maybe that's also an opportunity to kind of bridge the gap between the two communities. I feel like there isn't as much of an overlap between people doing both events as there could be. I think it's great to have something that's less competitive, but it's also great to have something competitive, and I don't want to see either of those things disappear. But that being said, I feel like it's not really up to the communities what happens. Maybe it is. Maybe we can influence the decisions, but yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
Ray, do you have any sponsors or anything you'd like to plug?
I do have sponsors. I have Ascend Protein, which is great. They take super good care of their athletes, and they make pre-workout and then post-workout protein recovery powders. And then I have Dry Robe, which makes this really cool coat that everybody already knows about. And then I also have Stairmaster, and then Spring Energy and Ultimate Direction Insight Tracker.
Hold up, Stairmaster? That's a new one.
Yes, that's a new one. I partnered with them last year. I think they noticed how much I was in the Stairmaster when I was injured. And I actually do think, like, of all the things in the gym, if I go to the gym, that's one thing I would do. So, yeah, they support me now, and I hope that I can support them back.
Ascent Protein has the best Black Friday deals. They're not actually deals, but they give you something free with purchase. I got a sweatshirt from them 2 years ago, and I got a cool shaker bottle from them this year.
That shaker is so cool. I have it too. I love the color.
Ray, how can people follow you on social media?
They can follow me on Instagram. It's just at Rea Kolbl. That's probably the best way. I'm most active there, and they can message me anytime. On Facebook, I feel like sometimes my friends' list is full, but they can follow me there too or message me on Facebook. I also have a website that I think if you just search Kolbl Rea, WordPress something, they can find me there, and they can get in touch with me through there.
Ray, any last thoughts on Spartan Ultra or anything else?
Obstacle racing is really fun. Let's keep all of the friends in it.
Rea Kolbl, thanks much.
Thank you, Will.
Special thanks to Rea Kolbl for joining the show today. Well done, Rea. Come back anytime. Rea with the Champions Pass exemption. You win a 24-hour race. You win a world championship race. You want to come on the show? willhicks@gmail.com. Love to hear from you. Welcome anytime. Plug your sponsors. Plug your next thing. I don't care. You're a world champion. You can come on. Also, CEOs of major race brands, more than welcome. I was going to say CEOs and founders, but we're just going to keep it to CEOs for now. Rea ran the Bandera 100K this weekend since we talked. We talked last week. This weekend, she ran the 100K, finished top 10 women, 8th place. Congratulations, Rea. Well done. Don't forget to listen to the other OCR Report podcasts for more on Tough Mudder and everything else OCR. You can listen to Opscoring Adventures. You can listen to our newest show, brought to you by Jason Dupree and Anna Landry, OCR Talk. Very excited to have them on board. And of course, Overcoming to Run. Feel free to leave them a review also. Leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. Shoot me an email, willhicks@gmail.com. And I will talk with you soon. Go spend time with someone you love.